Warning, the following program contains coarse language and potentially radical ideas about gender. So if you're at work, put your fucking headphones on. On this week's edition...
Years into my life, I found out that I was born with a condition known as microphallus.
I'm a 33-year-old trans man of butch experience.
Dedicated to bringing truthful, accurate, positive, and authentic representation of transgender people in the media.
I think they are disgusting freaks, and they are. Am I evil?
Hi, it's Nancy, and welcome to the 4th edition of This Week in Gender. Now, we've been moving the last couple weeks, and it's been a little difficult to get some stuff taken care of, so we haven't had a show. So this is kind of the Let's Get Caught Up edition. Still don't have the studio set up, as you can kind of see behind me. The only news item I'm going to cover is Transparent, which was the Amazon pilot, which was voted on by folks and critically acclaimed, which has been picked up for a run. Transparent features Jeffrey Tambor as a father who's transitioning to female. Now, this brings up the whole Hollywood trans misogyny issue. Jared Leto and his faux pas with award shows notwithstanding, I don't have a strong opinion about this. I go back and forth. However, I have some friends in Hollywood that do have a strong opinion. So let's have a little word from the folks at Trans Hollywood.
Hi, this is Julie Ray Goldstein from Trans Hollywood. Our Tumblr is transhollywood.tumblr.com. We are also on Twitter at Trans Hollywood. We are an organization of professionals in the entertainment industry dedicated to bringing truthful, accurate, positive, and authentic representation of transgender people in the media. Our big problem right now, Jared Leto and his rampage through the awards. The problem is Jared Leto's performance is stereotypical to the bone. The first problem they had was putting a man in a dress, putting makeup on him, and calling him a transgender woman. That is the type of stereotype that gets us killed in the streets. It gets job discrimination thrown against us. It's what forces people to push bathroom laws against us. Arizona, show your papers to pee bill. It's ridiculous. We need to end these types of portrayals. The problem right now is there is a huge double standard. Cisgender people are allowed to portray both trans and cis people in film and TV and etc. Yet trans people, well, we can only portray trans, and we're not always thought of for trans roles, which is ridiculous, right? To be honest, John Mark Vallée, the director of Dallas Buyers Club, actually stated that he never thought of auditioning a transgender actor to portray Rayon in Dallas Buyers Club. He went so far as to say he doesn't even think we exist. John Mark Vallée, I'm here. Laverne Cox, Jamie Clayton, Harmony Santana, Fallon Fox, our MMA fighter. We're all over the place. All you have to do is look, and if you don't know where to look, that's why you hire a casting director, buddy. It's all right there in Hollywood 101. All these things are why we took a stand. We went down to Hollywood and Highland on Oscar Sunday, the craziest day of the year in LA, and held up signs to show Hollywood that we will no longer remain quiet. We will no longer allow them to tell our stories without us represented both in front and behind of the camera, not just transgender actors, but transgender writers, directors, editors, consultants. If you're going to tell stories about trans people, you better have trans people working on the project with you. trans actors only for trans roles. We are living in a different world nowadays. 10 years ago, you might have been able to get away with it, but nowadays, we've seen what happens when Laverne Cox is given Orange is the New Black as a platform to stand on and do advocacy, to speak on behalf of Cece McDonald and Isla Nettles and all the other girls out there who are dying on the streets on a daily basis. No more. We will not accept this. This is not okay. This is the trans rights movement, and we are coming for you. Listen, the media's message has been loud and clear over the last 20 years. Trans people are a joke, something to be laughed at, something crazy, something to kiss and then puke after. No, we're not. We are people. We have hearts. We have souls. We have stories. We are valid. We have value. We are as different as cisgendered people. We consistently hear the best actor should get the part. You know what? We actually agree with it. The best actor should get the part. The problem is we're not even being considered. When gender identity doesn't matter for a character, then yes, let's let the best actor get the part. Allow cisgender and transgender to read for the same part if it doesn't matter. However, if gender identity is part of the story, then yes, you can cast cis based on cisgender and transgender only based on transgender. No cis trans, no trans cis, no one way about it. But if gender identity doesn't matter, then why are we making the distinction?
I love that one.
This has been Julie Ray Goldstein from Trans Hollywood. You can find me on the web at Julie Ray, R-E-I, like the store, not the pop star, or on Twitter, Julie, R-E-I. Once again, you can find Trans Hollywood at transhollywood.tumblr.com or on Twitter at Trans Hollywood.
Awesome. Look at those eyes. Okay, go ahead.
So, hi, I'm Chance Thomas. I'm a co-founder of Trans Pride here in Pittsburgh. I'm also a co-founder of Hot Metal Hardware, which is our awesome gender performance troupe. I'm a 33-year-old trans man of butch experience. And a lot of people look at me a little sideways when I say of butch experience because there's been some dialogue in the community for a long time that, you know, we're losing all our good butch women to become trans men. And, you know, that kind of, one, it pisses me off a little bit because I found a home with butch women. Butch women kind of fostered me into what they called, you know, the baby butch, to the point where one of them put me in a high chair in a diner after drinking one night. But butch is always what I've identified with first. It led me to my transition, but I'm still a butch, and a lot of people don't agree with that. You know, you're a man, you can't be a butch. I think butch is a gender, but butch is also a way in which you carry yourself. Just like there are femme trans women or butch trans women, there are femme trans men, there are butch trans men, there are butch cis people, and you know, there are butch straight people. I think, you know, when you try to limit butch to just the lesbian identity, it doesn't work. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that you can't. I'm just saying that you can't prevent me from calling myself a butch. You know, I kind of describe it like I was a gentleman before I was a man. Butch is definitely near and dear to my heart. There are a lot of different genders. You know, we have agender and genderqueer, and they fall along that entire spectrum, and it really bugs me when people talk about, you know, the gender police, you know, with people that identify as trans but aren't on hormones, or they dress like a girl one day and a boy the next. It's not really our right or our place to judge other people and their gender journeys, as I like to call it. You know, we all got here one way or the other, And sometimes people just like to stay on that train and, you know, continue the loop. Some of us have a destination and some of us don't. And I really wish the community would stop, you know, forcing people into boxes. You know, the larger community, the straight community, has tried to push us into boxes, and now our own community is doing the same to trans people or genderqueer, and we just need to stop and let ourselves be. I think that's very important, to let people go through their own journeys without saying, hey, you're doing this wrong, or you need to do it like this, because that's not how their individual journey is, and it needs to be their journey. It has nothing to do with anybody else. So that's kind of where I wanted to talk about, you know, being butch and how people try to police what words we use to define ourselves, and nobody can do that but us.
Hi folks, and welcome to this week's edition of The Transmission. Now, The Transmission is my segment where I have folks tell their coming out stories. And commensurate with the size of my ego, this is going to be a two-part coming out story. But I thought that I would share with you a bit about me, and even show you some old pictures, and let you get to know the person that curses at you every week. Now, years into my life, I found out that I was born with a condition known as microphallus. And microphallus is technically intersex, but I can sometimes consider intersex as a cop-out. I am transgender. I did have a functional penis, be it ever so small. I may have been given female gender at birth, but let's just leave that the way it is. At the age of 5, I knew something was horribly wrong with me. By the age of 12, I knew what it was. I had a word for it, and it was transsexual. Now, I was 12 years old in 1976. I had really bad, awful talk show, Geraldo Rivera stuff that introduced me to transgendered people of the time. I was also a fat child. I guess it kind of goes with what you'd expect, that being unbelievably unhappy with my gender, I would be really unhappy with my body also. I never believed that I could be a woman. I felt that I was a woman inside, but there were two problems. I was fat, I was tall, and I loved women, especially butch women. And frankly, I didn't understand what a lesbian was at the time. My response to this was to be the best man that I could possibly be. Sure, I always wanted to go to ballet class when I was in elementary school. By the age of 8, I started to cross-dress. I'd wear female underclothes to school. But I couldn't see transitioning. My belief was that if I ever mentioned to my parents that I was transgendered, I'd be locked up. And the truth wasn't quite far from that. I eventually got married at the age of 23. I tried to be the best man I could be, and that wasn't sufficient. I was blessed with a failed marriage. And while I watched my marriage fail, I sat on the sidelines, and there's part of me yelling at me in my ear saying, Nancy, get a fucking clue. Let the marriage fail. You can transition. You can be a woman. Let it happen. And I finally did. And at the age of 29, in 1993, I transitioned in Berkeley, California. And because I was in the high-tech industry, I had plenty of money, and I burned through it pretty quick. I got my electrolysis. I did a lot of therapy. And was lucky enough that just 1 year later, in 1994, I was able to have surgery. I will be honest that I'm a post-op transsexual. Trans woman is what I prefer. My wife paid me the biggest compliment that you could possibly get, which is that I went from being a really weak man to a very strong woman. And the night I had surgery, I cried. At the age of 30, I got my my Disney moment. I got my my kiss from the prince. I got my legs from the sea witch. A fairy tale came true for me. And the interesting thing about that is that I started off quite feminine, and that changed really quickly. I fell in love with a woman who rode a motorcycle. I rode a motorcycle for a while as a guy, and I loved it. And I went out and bought myself a bike and had my first lesbian relationship. And the skirts turned into jeans. The makeup was only there to cover the beard because makeups and motorcycle helmets didn't mix. I settled into life as a soft butch. And we'll go more into where my life went and how I got to where I am now in our next episode. I was privileged. I had the money to pay for all the transition. At the time, electrolysis to remove my beard cost about $20,000 over the course of several years. Surgery, $10,000 plus another $5,000, $6,000 in expenses. My heart goes out to my sisters and my brothers that can't afford these things. My heart goes out to women like Jessica McGinnis, who was on our show 2 weeks ago, who, due to her hemophilia, cannot have surgery. I'm whole. I mean, I may not have ovaries and I may not have a uterus, but I'm as much of a girl as I can possibly be. And for the last 20 years, I've been very happy with my vagina. I wouldn't trade my vagina or my breast for anything. I'm a natural 42D, no artificial fillers here. I say these things and it's difficult for me because I want my brothers and my sisters to understand who I am. I don't want them to envy me. I don't want to set goals that are difficult for my brothers and my sisters to achieve. I want to do everything I can do to help them get money. I'm a very big supporter of crowdfunding. Hopefully we'll get coverage from medical insurance. It's a hard road. I wish I could have transitioned at the age of 8. Life would have been a lot different for me. If I had an internet back then, I probably would have bought illegal hormones and transitioned myself. But I am who I am. Now, the cost was more than money. I'm gonna finish up this little somber segment with a story about my parents. Remember I mentioned earlier in the segment that I was pretty sure that I'd be locked up if I ever told my parents that I was transgendered. And that wasn't far from the truth. My parents attempted to have me committed. And one fateful day I told my mother that if that's the way they feel, I'd rather not talk to them again. And they took that to heart. And for 21 years I haven't talked to my parents. They're old. They probably don't have that much time left. And in all likelihood, I will not see one or both of them ever again. Given that, given the loss of my parents and my sister, the career difficulties I've had over the years being a transgendered woman, all of the problems that I've faced, I would do it again in a heartbeat. One of the single greatest moments of my life was the night I woke up after surgery. One of the most wonderful moments of my life is when I was able to have sex with another woman and not have to tell her I was trans. It's hard. A very dear friend of mine in the Bay Area in California took her over 12 years to have surgery. She finally got the money together. And she transitioned at roughly the same time I did. What I did in 12 months took her 12 years. So we'll talk about the non-surgical parts in the next edition, in part 2 of Nancy. But as I've talked, I've put up some old pictures of me. And feel free to drop me a line, Nancy@thisweekingender.org. And if you got specific questions, you can also throw them here in the comments field, and I'll answer them. Never thought I'd be a 20-year post-op. And hopefully now being an out trans woman, out proud, butch, loud, and on your computer screens, I hope I'm giving back to the community that's given me so much. Thanks.
So I'm doing this piece, we're talking about art and gender expression. And I want to talk about Ivan Coyote. Ivan Coyote is a Canadian artist who is a storyteller, does spoken word pieces. Ivan Coyote is transgender and uses pronouns them and they. Ivan has done a piece that I want to show you here called Ode to a Femme that is absolutely beautiful. And obviously as a femme, I really enjoy the piece. I enjoy many of Ivan's pieces a lot. But Ivan is amazing, and you need to watch this piece because it's beautiful.
To that one I'm going to do now. It gets me choked up a little, so I have to think of England first. Or Toronto Maple Leafs, something that pisses me off. Okay, I think we're good. To all the beautiful, kick-ass, fierce, and full-bodied femmes out there, I would like to extend my thanks to you. It is for you that I press my shirts and carefully iron my ties. It is for you that I make sure my underwear and socks match. It is to you that I tip my cowboy hat. It is for you that I polish my big black boots. I know that sometimes you feel like nobody truly sees you, and I want you to know that I see you. I see you on the street, on the bus, in the gym, in the park. I'm not sure why I can tell that you are not straight, but I can. Maybe it's the way you look at me. Please don't stop looking at me the way you do. All of my life, you see, I have been told that I am ugly. I am less than. I am not a man. I am unwanted. Until you came along, I believed them. I would never say that the world is harder on me than it is you. I would never say that. Sometimes you are invisible. I have no idea what this must feel like to pass right by your people and not be recognized, to not be seen. Because me, I cannot hide unless I'm seen as something I really am not. And this is not more difficult. It is just different. I know those shoes are fucking killing your feet. I want you to know how much I appreciate that you are still wearing them. You look hot. They look great with that dress. And if it makes you feel any better at all, the boots I have on right now weigh approximately 12 pounds apiece. And they make the soles of my feet burn like diaper rash in a heat wave, and it feels like I'm wearing ski boots when I have to walk upstairs, but I wear them. Even still, my new boots are velvet slippers compared to your knee-high 5-inch heels. I notice, and I salute you. I promise, I am not just staring at your tits. I am actually trying to look you directly in the eyes, but you are almost 8 inches taller than me. Please see the above note regarding your 5-inch heels. At the same time, I would like to mention that while I was trying to look you in the eyes, I could not help but notice your lovely new pendant. I am sure it really brings out the color of your eyes, if I could see them. I want to thank you for coming out of the closet again and again, over and over, for the rest of your life. At school, at work, at your kids' daycare, at your brother's wedding, at the doctor's office. Thank you for side-swiping their stereotypes. I never get the chance to come out of the closet. For some reason, my closet was always made of glass. But you do it for me. You fight homophobia in a way that I never could. Some of them think I am queer because I am undesirable. You prove to them that being queer is your desire. Thank you for loving me because of who I am and what I look like, not in spite of who I am and what I look like. Thank you for smelling so good. Thank you for holding my hand on the sidewalk during the hockey playoffs. I know it is probably small-minded of me to smile wicked at all the drunken dudes in Jersey smoking outside the sports bar in between periods because you are so fucking hot and you are with me and not them, but I can't help it. That's right, fellas. You want her, but she wants me. How do you like them apples? Thank you for wearing matching bra and panties. I do not know why this makes my life seem so perfect, but it does. Thank you for being the daughter my mother always wanted. You are so smart and so successful, and you dress so fine that you almost make up for her having me and my sister for her real children. Thank you for reaching out in the dark at the movie theater to grab my hand in the scary parts. It makes me feel like I am strong, that I can take care of you, even if there is no such thing as vampires, and you do so much yoga that you could probably easily kick my ass. I want you to know I love your crooked tooth, your stretch marks, the missing part of your finger, your short leg, your third nipple, your lazy eye, your cowlick, your birthmark shaped like Texas. I love it all. I want you to know, okay, God, think of England. Oh, and the Toronto Maple Leafs. It's fucking Luongo, our goalie. Okay. I got it. All right. I want you to know that it is not always easy to love me. That sometimes my chest is a field full of landmines. And where you went last night, you can't go tomorrow. There is No manual. There is no roadmap. No helpline you can call. My body does not come with instructions, and sometimes even I don't know what to do with it. This cannot be easy, but still, you touch me anyway. Thank you for escorting me into the women's washroom because the floor of the men's was covered in something unmentionable. Thank you for asking me if I had a tampon in my purse, really loud, so the lady in the turquoise sweatshirt with the twins did a double take before gathering up her daughters and hitting me with a pool noodle. I cannot say for sure whether this is what actually would have happened this time, but thanks to you, I didn't have to find out. Thank you for wearing that dress, just because you knew it would match my shirt. Together, we are unstoppable. When seen through your eyes, even I am beautiful. Turns out, I was a swan the whole time. Thanks.
I hope you enjoyed that as much as I do every time I watch it, which may have been hundreds of times by now. I really like Ivan a lot. Anyways, enough said. Regardless of any attraction I might have for Ivan, I want you to know that I respect Ivan on so many levels, professionally, and I think that that's a beautiful piece, and I hope you enjoyed it.
Here's a little something from some friends of mine up in Massachusetts. And who can say Massachusetts without saying Wahlberg? Not going to tell you where, but can you find the Wahlberg in this clip?
This is the planet we've decided to invade. It's called Earth. All personnel, prepare for invasion.
See the advanced weaponry the depraved aliens will use.
Ooh, dangerous.
To take over, then destroy Earth.
The hand of death.
We can control them.
How delicious.
See the fighting and insubordination that's tearing the alien crew apart.
You have been found guilty.
As you wish, bitch. I will.
Careful.
Is there a way to stop these demons in their sexually depraved attempt at alien overthrow? Will we be forced to spend the rest of our lives walking around in silly underwear?
We'll all have to use special precautions.
His name is J. Edgar Hoover, and he was a cross-dresser.
Cross-dresser?
We're in trouble now.
Suck my non-existent...
Good evening, and welcome to this week's edition of Suck My Non-Existent Cock. Now, this week I had kind of a problem. There was not a clear deserving asshole in my purview that really deserved this honor. So, I had thought about going back to Arizona, but then, while cruising Huffington Post, which is sadly what I do most of the day, I chanced upon somebody named Todd Kincannon. Now, good old Todd used to be the executive director of the South Carolina branch of the Republican Party. Now, he's very much in love with his Twitter. In fact, based on what I'm looking at, this guy probably tweets like 50 to 100 times a day. Now, let's go back to October. And I'm going to read here because you know that I have an issue with memorizing inflammatory and bullshitty bullshit. Todd said, and I'm going to pop this up on the screen, there are people who respect transgendered rights, and there are people who think that they should all be put in a camp. That's me, said Todd. I have plenty of compassion for trannies. They should all be locked up in mental institutions. Their care paid for by the state. Isn't that generous? Thank you, Todd. I have no problem with gays, but I hate trannies. I think they are disgusting freaks, and they are. Am I evil? Yes, Todd, you're fucking evil. I'm totally okay with gays, and I celebrate female bisexuality. Female bisexuality, dickface. As if it were the Mona Lisa of genital sports. A Republican using genital sports? He probably thinks that's what's going on with the gays in Sochi. Yeah, right, bullshit. But transsexuals are sick freaks. The last thing he said in October, the only things I hate these days are commies, trannies, and most Muslims. Now, I'm not a Muslim, but seeing as I'm a democratic socialist, that probably makes me a commie in your book, even though they're not the same thing. And I'm not a fucking tranny either. I'm a trans woman. So that was in October of 2013. Now, I did a little more research of our dear Todd. And let's see. He also said on March 1st, I thought we decided filthy trannies would go to Middle Eastern circuses. Cirque du Soleil? I don't know. All right. Now, Todd tries to recover, make things a little bit better, and he says, anybody who can't figure out I was being sarcastic about putting trannies in concentration camps should be put in a concentration camp. Now, Todd doesn't only talk about trannies. That would be pretty fucking boring if you ask me. Let's see how he feels about, quote, Mexicans. I don't know why we don't sterilize all the Mexicans with genetically engineered drugs in their water and just take the place. Now, Todd is not a complete idiot. He knows how to program in BASIC. For those of you who don't know, BASIC is Beginner's All-Purpose Symbolic Instruction Code. It was a programming language that people who didn't really know how to program computers used to try and program computers. Now, this is how he deals with dealing with chicks. 10. Hear boyfriend talking. 20. Misinterpret something. 30. Snap. 40. Go to 10. Well, we're glad you can program, Todd, but we think you should try math a little bit harder. Let's look at the simple problem that Todd gives us. Chicks should deduct titty weight, not add it. If a girl weighs 110, but 5 of it is tits, her true weight is 105 minus 5 equals 100 pounds. Okay, let's look at this again. Okay, and you've got the tweet here to look at it. Let's just take this in for a second. So she weighs 110 and her tits weigh 5 pounds. So that's suddenly 105 minus 5. Or 100 pounds. 5 minus 110 is 100 pounds. Fucking brilliant Republican math. Well, Todd, I've enjoyed dishing on you this segment and taking a little walk through your Twitter. And I must say, from the bottom of my heart, from the deepest depth of any depravity I may have, which could be quite a bit, with everything in me, stretching out from here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, to South Carolina, Todd Kincannon, this week and forevermore you may suck my non-existent cock. And that's it for this week. Catch you next week. Have a good one.
Okay, folks, it's time for the plug segment. Nothing cute this week, like I said. Still setting up. What can we say? All right, first of all, first time we're going to plug this. Trans Pride Pittsburgh. transpridepgh.blogspot.com. There's also a Facebook page and a new web page. Go to the blogspot. It'll take you everywhere you need to go. Now, Trans Pride Pittsburgh does a few really fantastic things. We get together, we organize meetings, like there's a trans partners meeting that'll be happening later this week. There's the T2T event, which is happening on the 30th here at the GLCC in Pittsburgh. Go to that site. You can see lots of great stuff happening here in Pittsburgh that have to do with being trans. Now, September 12th through 14th, we're having our nationwide conference here in Pittsburgh. Now, calls for participation have gone out. There's going to be a talent showcase. This program is actually the media sponsor for the show, and it'll be pretty exciting. Also want to plug a new page on Facebook. It's blue, actually no, take that back, pink, blue, and silver. And that is a page for trans folks over 50, which includes now myself. Happy birthday to me last week. And of course, we cannot forget, we will never forget, Dude Wears My Chest. Go ahead, click on the link, watch the video, give some money. And speaking of giving money, if you're watching this, click on my freaking donate link. Please, $5, $10. Help me pay for this shit. I'm paying for this all out of pocket. This is a labor of love. Help me love you some more. That's it for this week. We'll catch you next week. We're going to be back on the green screen, and we're going to get down and get it funky. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.